The Kansas City Chiefs are returning to the Super Bowl to do what no one has done before and have a shot at three-peating. They will be squaring off against the Philadelphia Eagles, the team that they faced 2 seasons ago, which actually kicked off this three-peat series. And I got to tell you guys, it's going to be quite the game, especially with all the narratives leading up to it. I want to go ahead and talk about both of these teams a little bit and their performances against their rivals leading up to these games, and maybe I am going to dab into some of the stuff circulating around the Chiefs and potentially how the refs may have helped them along the way. But nevertheless, I want to keep this as honest as possible and not get off into conspiracy theories, but we have to address everything from all angles. So let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Commanders. Commanders, what an amazing season they've had with their rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels. Look, honestly, watching Washington play this year has been a lot of fun. That NFC East division is finally starting to shake up a little bit. The Cowboys are the Cowboys, but now with the Commanders in the fold, with the rookie quarterback that looks to be promising, that division is most certainly going to get a lot more competitive. Whether Jaden Daniels has a sophomore slump or not doesn't matter. I think we've seen enough from this quarterback to believe that he is of the future for this franchise, and he will be there for a long, long time. And as far as the Eagles are still the Eagles. You got to applaud them for turning this season around after what happened last year. After they squared off against the 49ers, it seems like they couldn't really get any wins after that. And they were one and done in the wild card round last year against the Buccaneers. So I give them props for fixing their defense this season and basically having the best defense in the league right now. I would argue they have a better defense. Well, at least, I don't know if I think they might have a better defense statistically, but we're going to see, I think, a game of the battle of the defenses because Kansas City's defense is top notch and so is the Eagles. So like I said, credit to them for turning their defense around. That's what good teams do. That's what good organizations do. They find ways to correct things and they get it done. As far as that game goes, the Commanders, they put up a fight, but that Eagles team with Saquon Barkley is on a mission to go win himself a Super Bowl and have one heck of an epic season that he already has, and he would like nothing more than cap it off with the Lombardi trophy in his hands, especially after the drama he dealt with the New York Giants, leaving them over to the Eagles. And like I said, that defense is top notch. AJ Brown is playing well. Jalen Hurts is dealing with a banged up knee, but he's gonna have a couple weeks to rest up. Of course, he's gonna be practicing and all, but I'm sure they'll get him ready for this big matchup against the Chiefs. And I think this game is going to be another good one. So we'll have to see how this plays out. We'll dab into that a little bit more as well after I conclude my gossip about the Chiefs. Going over to the Chiefs, I mean, what can you say? They arguably have the best defensive coordinator in the league. It surprises me how they continue to hold on to Spagnuolo. With my 49ers, I lost Saleh. I lost D'Amico Ryans during this Kyle Shanahan era. We just cannot hold on to these guys. And they deservedly so took off to get head coaching jobs. But news alert, Saleh's back with the 49ers. So looking forward to seeing how that pans out for this coming up 2025 season. But when you look at the Chiefs, man, that defensive coordinator, Spags, he's the best in the business right now. So the fact that he is not taking off to be a head coach anywhere yet is just, it's mind-blowing. And I don't think people have that conversation enough because it almost just doesn't seem fair at this point. The Chiefs having a very mediocre offensive season this year, it was their defense that kept them in games. And if it wasn't for that defense playing so well, I don't think they would have only had one win. One loss, excuse me. They should have, could have, would have had a few others, and obviously some questionable refereeing, I think, along the way that helped that 15-1 season. Going into the AFC Championship game, the Bills, man, let me get this focus. Okay, I think the focus is back. The Bills, you guys were the ones we were depending on to save us all from another Swifty Bowl. Unfortunately, they cannot get it done. All right, guys, this is where I kind of get into it a little bit. We all watched the game, right? Xavier Worthy did not have complete control of that ball by the time it hit the ground. If you watch it frame by frame, piece by piece, second by second, even the hand that he had around the ball, he didn't even have his hand touching the ball. It was like touching his forearm. I forget the name of the cornerback for the Bills. He had the ball. If you look at it closely and watch it over and over again, he had the ball trapped between his bicep and his forearm, and he even had his other arm kind of around the ball. Xavier Worthy, it was like touching his forearm, and his hand wasn't even gripping the ball. So by the time it fell, the ball touched the ground. Then he manages to get his other arm around it, but it was too late. How the refs don't call that an incomplete pass is beyond me, because that was either Bill's ball or an incomplete pass. The second one, now, there was still like 13, 12 minutes left on the clock on the fourth quarter. I get it. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills were ahead by 3 points. They had the momentum. They were stopped on a third down. Now they need to get it on a fourth. Probably easily the most controversial call in the entire game. Deservingly so. All you have to do is make it to the line. You don't have to fully pass the line. You just have to get that ball, your body, to the line. You have to get that ball to the line. And Josh Allen does more than enough to get to the line. He's literally on the line. Even some of his body is past the line. He has the ball at the line, maybe even a bit more than that. They rule him short. Very controversial call. You had the ref at the bottom say that it was short. You had the ref coming up from the top of the screen saying it was good, but then somehow the guy that was at the bottom of the screen, which he has no view of the ball from that angle, apparently his decision was the one they were going with, no questions asked. Look, guys, I get it. You could have settled 1, 2, 3 other downs, other drives. He didn't get it done. But you need to understand, against the Kansas City defense like that, you need every opportunity you can get. And when the refs strip an opportunity away from you that you actually earned, it makes it almost impossible to beat a team as good as the Kansas City Chiefs. So a lot of the media is going to be talking about, well, he didn't get it done. He couldn't make the big plays when they really mattered. Well, he made that play when it really mattered. He pushed himself as hard as he humanely could have pushed himself to at least make it to the line, and he did. And when you have the refs say that you didn't make it and call you short, what more can you ask of the guy? And to add on top of that, you're in Burrowhead. The stadium is erupting because now the Chiefs have the ball on turnovers. The momentum shifts. It's a real thing, guys. We see it all the time in football, especially in your home stadium. And at Arrowhead, the fans are going nuts. The Chiefs are at an all-time high, thinking they made that stop, but they really didn't. But there they go with the ball. It's a killer, man. And calls in the NFL are, I would say, arguably some of the most biggest calls to be made in any sports, whether it's basketball, soccer, any team sport, because we're talking about possessions of ball. We're talking about yardage. These calls have to be done right. And Josh Allen did not lose that game. And it's when you hear all of these fans of the game go berserk about the Kansas City Chiefs being favored, is it really a coincidence at this point? I don't think so. It cannot be a coincidence at this point. And I tried to speculate and wonder, well, what kind of benefit would the NFL get out of if they've been helping the Chiefs this whole time? They got their new golden boy. The only thing I can think of, and I hope it's not true, but hey, the way some of these things get called, it's hard to doubt it. I'm thinking, what would the NFL benefit? Well, ratings, viewers. Viewer numbers go up, ratings go up, more money in the NFL's pocket. anything that involves money, man, has the opportunity to be corrupt. And you add Taylor Swift in that, you have all these Swiftie fans that want to see what she's going to be wearing to the big game, and they're going to watch the game just because of that. I think if you had to have an obvious reason why if there is something scandalous going on, it has to be because of that. Because no NFL team has ever made it to a Super Bowl 3 times in a row. So what does that mean? Everybody and their mamas are going to want to watch the game to see if the Kansas City Chiefs are going to make history or fall short, right? I compare this to a boxing game. What does boxing do so good at? Hyping the fight up, right? What do you do to hype the fight up? Well, first of all, you have a boxer who is world class, who is one of the best in the world. That's one. Patrick Mahomes in football, the best quarterback in the league. And what do you do to prop up the fight? Well, you basically have all of these, pre-conferences, and I look at these pre-conferences almost as the playoffs for football, right? So you get all this hype building up, and then when the fight is going to happen, everyone is paying, everyone wants to watch the fight. Is Mayweather, is Canelo, is you name it, any world-class boxer, past or present. Are they going to win another championship, or are they going to get knocked down by this up-and-coming guy that everyone believes has a real shot? And I look at the NFL replicating boxing. They're helping the Chiefs prop them up, whether it's with bad referee calling, you name it, which is really what it kind of seems like. They're propping them up because everyone is going to want to witness. Is someone going to take out Goliath, or is Goliath going to prevail and now win another championship? So what I'm hoping is, if there really is something scandalous going on, I hope it just stops at the 3P. And what I mean by that is, I hope it's like, well, I hopefully the NFL, Robert Goodell, if there really is something going on, hopefully it's just, hey, I wanted to get them to the Super Bowl the 3rd time in a row, but I never said I'm going to help them win it, right? I already got eyeballs. I already got more eyeballs watching because I got them to the big game 3rd time in a row. Everyone wants to see that. People say they're going to boycott it, but let's be real. Everyone's really going to watch the game. But hopefully it's like, well, I never said I was going to help them win it. So that's my little conspiracy theory with that. I wanted to get that off my chest. I'm a 49er fan, and the first time they squared off against the Chiefs a few years ago, there was so much holding going on, especially against Bosa, that I think if it was called the way it was supposed to be, that game could have very well ended up in the 49ers' favor. So I needed to vent a little bit about that. The Chiefs are great. I don't have anything against the players. I don't have anything against Andy Reid. I don't have anything against that organization. It's just everything that's transpiring for that organization is what drives a lot of fans nuts and upsets, a lot of us. So that was my vent session for that. I basically spent the entire video talking about that. That's probably where I'm going to leave it with that. If you agree with my analogy of if there was something going on, which I hope there isn't, then you can agree with me. So yes, I made this video a lot more about the Chiefs than I would have liked, but I had to get in the discussion. It's all over Twitter. It's all over Instagram. I wanted to give my analogy of how I see this, if there actually is something going on behind the scenes. And if there is, and it's almost like, well, then what's worth watching it? And if there is, hopefully it surfaces in the future. Maybe 15, 20 years from now, a Netflix documentary series is going to come out because of these whistleblowers, past refs saying that they were helping out the Chiefs. Wouldn't that be crazy? The thing is, the Chiefs are already so good. So it's like, why would they need help? But when you see all the questionable calls throughout the season and having an offense that couldn't even score more than 31 points all year, but they did last night, and you watch them go 15-1, it's insane. It's absolutely insanity. So Eagles, I don't like you guys either. I'm gonna keep it real, but you need to save us from the Chiefs making history. And the thing is, I don't have a problem with teams making history. I get it. My team isn't always going to be the one making history. That's okay. Everyone deserves to have something cool to brag about. But I just want it to be done in an honest way, right? So when I'm watching Josh Allen be denied a first down when he clearly got it, when I'm watching week 2 or 3 against the Bengals and the Chiefs, and there was that block on that, I forget the Bengals player that he had, and they called it a pass interference, but it really wasn't. And week 1 against the Ravens, all of those offside calls that they called against the Ravens that never actually was offsides, or the Chiefs were doing the exact same thing, but they wouldn't get the calls. When you watch all these fluky down to the wire missed calls or calls against the opponents, but in favor of the Chiefs over and over again, it just doesn't become a coincidence anymore. And I hope I'm wrong. But they do it over and over again, and they squeak by and they squeak by and they squeak by. And it just feels like, hey, if they're going to three-peat, that's cool and all, but I just want it to be done because it was an honest and fair journey to three-peat. Right? That's all. And it's just hard to say that it really was, yeah. I've gone long enough, guys. I'm going to make more content leading up to this matchup, and I look forward to having a discussion with you guys. I am going to leave it at that about my conspiracy theory. I had to get that off my chest. Hope I'm wrong. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.